What it is, everybody. Good afternoon / evening. It has been an eventful day. I have lots of videos and stuff. Too many bookmarks saved on Twitter. Woke up to the Epstein news. So there's Epstein news today. People have different takes on it, so I'll talk about that. It's good to be back. Feedback was pretty good. I did my first show yesterday. First show in many months. So we're still shaking the rust off or scrubbing the rust off, probably using a magic eraser or something. I don't know if that works on rust. Good for bathroom cleaning, though. Hey, Jimmy. Yeah, I'm testing backgrounds. I live more modestly now. So the current room I'm in is not like an attractive background or anything. It's not a dedicated studio or anything. You'd see my bedroom behind me, which isn't much to look at. So I'm testing backgrounds. I have like I'll show you the background I did yesterday. I am in a different location. No longer live in that other house. Let's see, visual effects. See, I can do this one, which I have. I don't know if that's a little dark. Published a podcast today. Published the podcast of yesterday's show, so the podcast is back on. We're doing 2 days in a row, which is pretty good. We start at 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern time. We're on time today. Jimmy Berman. Yes, in California. You're going to be in Pismo? Okay. We can, that's close. It's close. It's further away than it used to be, but it's still here. It's probably an hour away from where I am now. I'm a little further north. I live near the Hearst Castle. They call it a castle. So it's more of a mansion up a hill in, what's the town called? Can't remember. So how's everybody doing? Good to see you. Big show today. Epstein emails. H-1B visas. Everybody hates Trump. Everybody hates Trump. In 2020, I'm not ashamed to say, because I tell the truth on this show. That's what makes it different from some shows. I actually didn't want Trump to win because I was sick of him in 2020. I was sick of his antics. I wasn't a big fan of the election thing, which I know it doesn't matter. I don't care about my own virtual survival. It's cool now. I was going to say it's cool because of Nick Fuentes to diss Donald Trump, to not like Donald Trump. It's cool now to not like Israel and to diss Donald Trump, which everybody's doing now. They're dragging him. They're dragging him over the H-1B visa thing, mostly on the right. And then on the Epstein thing on the left. So I was going to say that Nick Fuentes made it cool to hate Trump from the right because he was kind of alone in his opposition to Trump. I mean, pretty much from the right. If he is right, I don't know what he is. They're all Tucker and Fuentes are socialists. Like everybody's a socialist now. But Tucker always kind of has been. He talks about cost of living. The cost of living thing, they don't have any solutions for it. Tucker said, Fuentes says you have a right to live where you were born. Well, what does that mean? How are you going to do that with capitalism? I understand, but, and then Tucker, I think, has talked about nationalizing industries like oil and stuff. I believe he used to talk about that. How are you going to do that without ending the Federal Reserve and creating a depression? Thanks, GTO. People say I'm looking good. That's nice. It's nice for people to say that. I'm old, though. I'm getting grayer. It sucks. I don't like the thought of it. I don't like the thought of being old and sick and alone. I don't like the thought of that. Probably a lot of people don't. But I'm healthy for now. I wish I had the energy to be a gym bro, but it's just not me. I'd walk more than 2 miles every day. So, but flat. I don't even walk up hills. So I'm not doing that great probably overall. But I just took my methylene blue. So I should be fired up. There are no advertisers for this show, but you should buy t-shirts for now while they still exist. And then I don't know what's going to happen after they don't exist. The only way we can sell them now is to discount the hell of, like, sell them below cost, basically, which is what we're doing. You can get shirts that are made in the United States that we probably had to pay like $18 a shirt for or something. And they should sell for like $50 or something. But we're selling them for $5, made in America, where they have a QR code where you can see where the cotton was grown and everything. That's how crazy it is. We were ambitious. Let me show you. We have these. Okay, let's see. Everybody's buying the question everything stuff because it's on sale for $10. So that's selling out quickly. Get your sizes. People are already mad because stuff is sold out. I believe all the hoodies are sold out. People jumped on those. Those were like $15. Truthclothing.io. It's our business. Shutting it down. So everything's on liquidation prices. Some stuff for $5. But we still have propaganda sweatshirts, it looks like, for $15. In small. That's it. In size small. That's all we have left. But it's a $15 sweatshirt. Can't get that. It can't beat that. We bought this stuff a long time ago, so it's inflation proof. We already paid for it before. I think we bought everything before COVID, pretty much. Still have it. So all the question everything stuff, you see some stuff sold out already. Limited sizes left. $5 lift the veil stuff? That's nice. Well, that's sad though. $5. Lift the veil, never normal. That's what I'm wearing today. I'll show you. I don't think we have this one available. Oops. Yeah, this shirt. Lift the veil, never normal. So you can get that design for $5. Bitcoin shirts, $10 for now. Other crypto shirts are $5. Yeah, we were selling this hoodie. People jumped on that for $10. God damn. I think it was probably $50 originally. So, of course, we sold out. So check that out. Truthclothing.io. Help us sell out. We want to sell out by the end of the year. I got to shut down the business so I don't have to pay taxes on it anymore. They make you pay a minimum in California for having a business. Yeah, it's like more than we were selling. So truthclothing.io. Don't let me bring you down. So that's our sponsor. You can also support the show by going to buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil and leave a message. I'll read it before the end of the show. Before 10 minutes is up, we should probably play our intro and get into it. Good to see everybody. Happy to be here. Okay, cue musical intro. Boy, that's brilliant. I do think some things in the world are real. Like you guys. You guys are real. Most of you. Most of my listeners, I think, are not just in my head. I think I have the metrics to prove it. You've taken a leap of faith today. What is that sound? And I apologize if you take offense. I'm a little offended myself. Welcome to our show. Welcome to the future. What it is, joining you live from sunny California. It's a beautiful day today. I'm your host, Nathan Stoltman. And I bring you the news, the real news. Kiss the Sky 40, God bless you. You still defend Trump reflexively. Lots of people do. That's okay. Megyn Kelly defended him today too. It does implicate him because it implicates that he had knowledge. It doesn't implicate that he did anything wrong because of the redacted name. The redacted name was Virginia Giuffre. It doesn't implicate him in having sex with underage girls. So it implicates that he knew what was going on and didn't do anything about it. He became president. He eventually did something about it. Some people say he was the FBI informant, but I don't believe it. I don't believe he was the FBI informant. I just don't. Because it's not reported anywhere authoritative or anything. I know the mainstream media wouldn't necessarily cover it, but it would at least be in like the Daily Mail or New York Post or something like that. And I don't think they reported on it. It implicates him in having knowledge. So we'll go to it. We'll go ahead and get started. Give me a break. Oh, good. My passwords are here. Just have to log into Twitter. Oh, they texted me a verification code. Okay. Let's look at the emails. Kiss the Sky. This is what you're talking about. This is what I'm talking about. Some people say yes. I haven't seen it reported anywhere like authoritative. There's some like off-grid publication that said he was the FBI informant about Epstein, but that's all I've seen. I haven't seen it from anybody reputable. Good to see you too, Kiss the Sky. Forgive me my trespasses. Forgive me my trespasses, please. Regarding Trump. Okay, let's look at the emails. Okay, we'll get to it. Then the other news I'm going to cover today, why don't I preview the news? Trump, Epstein. House is in session. So that has to do with the Epstein news. The new lady, Grijalva, signed the petition. So the petition may have, so it's Trump, Epstein. We'll give you all of the coverage for that. We will talk about H-1B visas and Chinese students, like 600,000 Chinese students propping up our communist universities, which people on the right don't like. But it's funny about the Epstein stuff. Like, it's funny how the Twitter algorithm looks. It gives me mostly right-wing people. So actually, none of them were sharing the Epstein emails and saying anything bad about Trump. But a bunch of people were saying it's over for Trump. A bunch of people are saying that now. The ascendant social media profiles and YouTube channels mostly are anti-Israel, for sure. And I think mostly they are Trump skeptical at this point. Mostly they're critical of Trump. Candace, taking it back. Tucker Twitter just doesn't talk about him much. He doesn't give an opinion one way or the other on Trump these days that I've seen in a while. He's just not that into it. But Nick, with the young people, who apparently he has a monopoly on, has been anti-Trump for a while. And it's amazing that he's done that and has all these followers and stuff. When I was doing stuff, I was very frustrated. So I was telling a story. I'll finish telling my story. Where in 2020, I basically wanted him to lose to Biden. I actually kind of did. And I bet against him and won a bunch of money betting on Biden. So I probably lost followers then. But he was annoying me in a lot of ways at that time. And then I thought the Stop the Steal stuff and like what his lawyers were doing, like Rudy Giuliani and that crazy Kraken bitch. That bitch was crazy. I mean, 100% insane. Giuliani was like leaking hair dye and sweating and stuff. I wanted to make fun of him, but I found that I really couldn't because like everybody hated me for it. I hated that. Like, I hated that I couldn't give my opinion without my audience hating me. I really hated that about Trump because I was like, kind of wanted to make fun of him in certain ways. So I was like, well, if Biden's in, then I can make fun of Biden because I hate Biden too, more than Trump, really. But at least I could do my show and just criticize Biden every day because I'm pretty much like comedians used to be, or Saturday Night Live used to be, or you would make fun of whoever the president is. That's how comedy used to be. You would make fun of whoever the president was, regardless, and not be political about it. You'd never be supportive of the president. That's gay. You'd always make fun of the president, whoever's in power. You make fun of powerful people. But when I make fun of Trump, people hated me. I didn't like that. So I thought if Biden was president, I could do my show and I could be critical of Biden because I was. I didn't like him either. And there are a lot of things you make fun of. And at least I could do that. When Trump was president, I couldn't do that because of the backlash I received. So so anyway, that happened in 2020. In 2024, after the assassination attempt, like almost everybody, I got behind Trump. I was actually really supportive, especially after he hooked up with RFK and Tulsi Gabbard, who I really like, and who are kind of left wing, because I guess I'm a liberal, really. Like, genuinely, I think I am a liberal, the way the word used to mean. Like a lot of people who ended up supporting Trump. Like free speech, no wars, that kind of stuff. Like equal rights, all that stuff. I'm pretty much that. I used to be a Democrat because my parents were Democrats. My dad worked for the government. He worked for the EPA and stuff. So I was into, and regulating air pollution and shit like that. Global warming, I used to think was a thing. Now I don't. Although we can talk about that. Jimmy Berman, yes. Sidney Powell, that's right. She was so insane. All that stuff. I mean, they never had any evidence. And they still, like, even Tucker got mad at Trump because they gave him fake evidence of dead people voting. He just said that recently. The Trump campaign gave him fake evidence of dead people voting when, like, the people came out and said, no, we're alive. So they, like, never had any evidence of fake votes. Anything real that could be proven in court. And you can hate me for that, but they just didn't ever. They still haven't shown anything. I mean, that guy did a documentary about it, and yeah, maybe they were harvesting ballots, stuff like that. What was it called? 2,000 Mules or something? Dinesh D'Souza made that, right? But it wasn't like evidence you could prove in court. So I bet some people after the election happened, I bet people were still willing to bet. that Trump was going to win after he'd already lost. So I was like, oh, that's free money. Should have bet more. Somebody bet me 10 Ninja Guineas, I think. The Ninja Guinea was $100, or was it actually the Ninjets? Ninjets, maybe, on D Live. If anybody remembers that. Somebody bet me like $1,000, $1,200. And I didn't take the whole bet because I didn't have that much money. I was afraid. I was still afraid. Like, I didn't want to bet more than I could lose just in case. But I still bet him like $360 or something and won. Won a bet against Titus Frost also. He bet me. So yeah, I've been on the wrong side of a lot of topics. It's one of those things. The wrong side for the atmosphere. Right now, it's like a more conducive atmosphere I see out there. Israel skeptical, Trump skeptical. That's kind of me, actually. Although, no, I really supported Trump in this last election. I bet on him this time and won a bunch of like thousands of dollars betting on him in prediction markets. Because I think I bet for him to win the popular vote, and that paid off like 3-1 or something like that. So I made a bunch of money betting on Trump this last time, and I supported him for sure. And I'm not even as disappointed as most people are. People feel betrayed right now. I'm like, it is what it is. Politicians suck. Even RFK isn't that cool right now. He goes against his own positions to just suck on Trump's butt, pretty much. Like he was like RFK Jr. was talking about how bad fat drugs were, and that you don't need fat drugs that like artificially make you less hungry and probably have a bunch of side effects. And he didn't want them covered by insurance because they're so expensive, when obesity can be handled with diet and exercise. You don't need a fat drug. And then when Trump came out recently and said, you know, that it was amazing that he got the price down on fat drugs, RFK came up and was like, yeah, this is amazing, you know, even though he's on the record being totally opposed to fat drugs. So politicians that's what happens. Everybody who's in the Trump administration has to support everything Trump says. Everybody in Congress pretty much has to too, except for Marjorie Taylor Greene, Thomas Massie, and Rand Paul. So I have a thing for Marjorie Taylor Greene today. I'll get to the emails. Foster Dog Summit says, wonder if Nathan realizes he had the real Q on his show in 2017. That could make him world famous. Are you talking about, the name was just right here, the South African guy? And I'll jump forward in the chat. Are you talking about the South African guy, Faber? Is that his name? Was he the real Q? I think I was led to believe he was. Was it like Peter Faber or something like that? No? Foster Dog Summit? Who was it that I had on my show? That guy had a name too. Ferber. That wasn't him? I was told that was him. It rotated. Yeah, Paul Ferber, I think. Oh, you're talking about Quinn Michaels? Foster Dog Summit? He wasn't Q. It was like Paper, whatever that guy's name was. What was his name? Paper? Who am I thinking of? He posted some Q stuff. It like rotated. Different people had control of the account. That was another thing that people hated me for. I could have jumped on that bandwagon. I remember my first QAnon video got like, it was so pumped by the algorithm. It was insane. So many people got famous because of Q. Pamphlet. Yeah, Paul Ferber was Baruch the scribe, right? I heard he had control of it at one point. But then Pamphlet posted once as Q. I never had him on my show. And then I think maybe the guy that controlled 8chan also had something to do with it. But it is interesting that there isn't any I did a lot of investigating into it. I think I was pretty close to the truth. Schoenberger tried to implicate himself in it for notoriety. Pretty much. Schoenberger and that crew. DeFango tried to implicate himself in it. He was like, I made up Q. I gave him the whole idea. That's what DeFango said. Funny, man. So many funny characters. I gave him the idea at that CIA hacker meeting that they all do where the government's there and stuff. Anyway, let's talk about these emails because I'll get back to that. DEF CON. Yeah. Foster Dog Summit. DEF CON. Okay. So let's show you the emails. I have a bunch of stuff to share. I wasn't necessarily planning to just monologue the whole time. A bunch of stuff. I saved videos and so forth. So I want to make sure to get into that. And then if we get enough people tuned in, we'll take phone calls, but we'll see. We'll see how people respond to this show. People are already mad about the Charlie Kirk take, I think. People really blew up with the Charlie Kirk conspiracy theories. I just feel like I could have gone on, but I just don't have any really Charlie Kirk conspiracy theories. Okay, here are the emails. Okay. My viewer said Trump was not implicated. Okay, so here's an email from Jeffrey Epstein on April 2nd, 2011, when I believe Trump was thinking of running for president. I guess Jeffrey Epstein was trying to do some kind of damage control. It says, I want you to realize that dog that hasn't barked is Trump. And then it says, victim, like it's blacked out, spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned. Police chief, etc. I'm 75% there. I don't know what that, I can't interpret this whole thing. 100%, maybe 75%. So a few things about this email is that I guess Trump never spoke publicly about him and I guess was never implicated, is maybe what he's saying by the dog that hasn't barked. The name that was redacted by the Democrats who released these emails now has been revealed to be Virginia Giuffre. So this should say Virginia, probably. It probably says Virginia spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned. Well, in defense of what my viewer said, that he wasn't implicated, is that Virginia Giuffre had nothing but nice things to say about Trump. She said she always saw him being a gentleman or something like that, and that he was not implicated in any of the sexual activities and stuff, which I believe. But he knew about it. That's what these emails, that's what I meant by he's implicated. So this is from Jeffrey Epstein okay, let me do them sequentially because that one's from 2019 after when he was about to be indicted. Okay, this email from somebody called Michael Wolf. I don't know who that is. People are talking about him on Twitter saying like people should be talking about him. I don't know who it is. Maybe people can tell me. Kevin says, I think Trump was definitely a pedophile. You think definitely? Really? I tend to believe he isn't. He went for young women and maybe a 17-year-old once. But I'm not like a 17-year-old. It's legal in England. So I'm not going to be like super whatever about that. There was some story though about him being that Opperman, I believe, talked about it. He had somebody on his show who said he had like a 17-year-old girlfriend or something, which I guess, is really gross. I think middle-aged people being with teenagers is like gross. And there are people out there who are like, well, who do you want to have babies with and all this stuff. It's ridiculous. They're intellectually inferior. I mean, they're intellectually not very advanced human beings. You ever talk to someone who's in college or something? I mean, they're retards. Most of them. And I mean, Nick Fuentes is a particularly advanced model of human where he was like really advanced for his age and stuff. I guess there are probably female versions of that, maybe. But for the most part, young people are retarded because they're not fully developed. Our brains aren't developed until we're 25. So I do think that's still weird, but not pedophile weird. Just kind of creepy weird. But I don't think Trump's a pedophile. I think it would have come out. That's all. I really think it would have come out by now. And these emails don't implicate him as being one, I don't think. All right. So here's this email from 2015 when Trump maybe had already announced that he was running and he was about to be on CNN. Okay. So here's how it started from Michael Wolff. It says, I hear CNN planning to ask Trump tonight about his relationship with you, either on air or in Scrum afterwards. Then Jeff says, if we were available to craft an answer for him, what do you think it should be? And then Michael Wolff says, I think you should let him hang himself. If he says he hasn't been on the plane or to the house, then that gives you a valuable PR and political currency. You can hang him in a way that potentially generates a positive benefit for you. Or if it really looks like he could win, you could save him, generating a debt. Of course, it is possible that when asked, he'll say Jeffrey is a great guy and has gotten a raw deal and is a victim of political correctness, which is to be outlawed in a Trump regime. Okay. So the translation of that one, I believe, is let him say he doesn't know you, that he's never been on the plane or to the house, which I believe he has been on the plane. I believe there's evidence of that. If he wasn't on Jeffrey's plane, Jeffrey was on his plane for sure. I covered that. So thanks, Crowdsource the Goon. That's good. Bringing back old memories. How dare you say such anti-Semitism? I'm going to sue you for all your shekels. Thanks. Well, fortunately, I don't have any shekels. So I don't have to worry too much about the suing. But that's a good impression of Jason Goodman. I like your picture. So anyway, I think I think Trump had been to his house too, and maybe there's evidence of that. I mean, they were friends. So they're saying, well, let him say you weren't friends, and he was never on the plane or to the house, which I think they're implying he was on the plane and in the house. And the other email certainly implied he was in the house with Virginia, where according to Virginia, he never did anything wrong. And then if he did say that, Epstein had the option to come out himself and say Trump was lying. He could come out and say, if he thought Hillary was going to win, which everybody did actually, if he thought Hillary was going to win and he wanted to buy favor with whoever was going to be in power, he could say, oh no, Trump's lying. He was at my house and on the plane, and I have proof or whatever. And then gain favor with the Dems who are going to be in power by burying Trump that way. And then it says, or you could defend him and agree with what he said and say, yeah, but we aren't friends or whatever. And then you'd have a debt with Trump where Trump would owe you something. So that's the interpretation of that email. Which maybe did. I mean, I think Trump wants to pardon Ghislaine, honestly. I actually think he wants to pardon or commute the sentence of Ghislaine Maxwell. I mean, they already did her a huge favor. I think because she didn't implicate Trump, pretty much. So they moved her to that minimum security prison, which is way nicer than where she was. I heard she's in Texas now. So, and then the final email was from 2019 when Jeff was about to get indicted, I believe. And it says victim Mar-a-Lago, which I think is Virginia Giuffre, worked at Mar-a-Lago. Oh, shit. And then it's redacted. And then it says Trump said he asked me to resign as a member at the club. I threw that in. Never a member ever. Of course, he knew about the girls as he asked Ghislaine to stop. Okay. I believe that was reported on. Like he was upset that they stole Virginia from his club. Like he found out about it and he told Ghislaine she can't do that anymore. And then he must have talked to Virginia or something, according to these emails. Maybe I don't know I mean, Virginia's dead now. That's sad. Allegedly. I mean, you never know. People say Charlie Kirk isn't dead. But that's the deal. So he says, of course, he knew about the girls as he asked Elaine to stop. And furthermore, there's another email that came out. Okay, now I can unbookmark this now that I've covered it. I have to manage my bookmarks and stuff. Streamline my process. This email was also released later in the day, which wasn't published with the other emails, where Jeffrey says, it says there's a picture. It looks like he links to a picture. And it says, my 20-year-old girlfriend in 93 that after 2 years I gave to Donald. So let me start from the beginning. The first email says, because of this, and then it's the quote that everybody talks about from the original feature on Jeffrey Epstein, where he said, I've known Jeff for 15 years. Terrific guy. 15 years. Terrific guy. He's a lot of fun to be with. It is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. No doubt about it. Jeffrey enjoys his social life. See, that indicates to me that he knew like that Jeffrey was not technically a pedophile, but he had sex with teenagers, underage women. I think they call it, what do they call it? Some other kind of file. Hebophile or something when they're actually post-pubescent. I heard pedophile is prepubescent. Is that accurate? I think there is a difference, according to the Bible at least, especially the Jewish Bible or the Talmud. 12, 14 years old, you're supposed to be good, according to the Talmud. And according to Muhammad stuff, old times. We arbitrarily in the United States chose 18, but I think that's fair. I think that's fair. In other countries, it's 16 or 15 or something. But I do think it's weird. Older guys with girls that are really young, like they are taking advantage of them, I believe. So, and then anyway, so it says now everyone is coming to me thinking I have juicy info on you and Trump. That's what it says from Thomas Landon Jr. I missed that part. And then Jeffrey said, "Would you like a photo of Donald and girls in bikinis in my kitchen?" Then the guy says, "Yes." And then Jeffrey says, "Hawaiian Tropic Girl, Lauren Petrella." And then Thomas Landon Jr. wrote, "I'm serious, man. For the good of the nation, why not try to get some of this out there? I would not do it myself, but would pass on to a political reporter. Plus, look at these lies." In response to a message left seeking the Trump campaign's comment on this article, on Thursday, Trump's general counsel, Alan Garten, emailed threatening legal action against BuzzFeed News. Quote, "Mr. Trump's only connection with Mr. Epstein was that Mr. Epstein was one of thousands of people who has visited Mar-a-Lago. That's it. Mr. Trump has never been accused of having any involvement or even having a knowledge of any of Mr. Epstein's conduct by anyone," unquote, Garten wrote. And this person writing the email says, "Look at these lies." Because I think it's clear that Trump did know. Then it says, quote, "As a result, I have no idea what the purpose of your article could possibly be other than to try and intentionally and with actual malice defame my client's name and reputation by mentioning him in the same article as Mr. Epstein. In other words, suggest guilt by association. This is the very definition of irresponsible and reckless journalism, and to publish such a story would be highly unethical, even by BuzzFeed standards." So there you go. So yeah, I think Trump had knowledge of, and I think that's probably one of the reasons he doesn't want the documents to come out. The other reason being that he has powerful friends, I assume, who would be implicated. And I'm surprised the Democrats are so anxious to get everything out because I'm sure it's several of their powerful friends and donors who will be implicated too. And that the only person they're going to put info out in advance is about Trump. But Trump isn't one of the super wrongdoers here. He may be a wrongdoer in some sense. Maybe they didn't say it, didn't tell enough people what Jeffrey was up to. But we're going to find out if the files ever come out. So what happened today in the House is the new lady Grijalva got inducted, or whatever they call it. And the first thing she did was sign the Epstein petition. But then I thought that meant they would have to release the files, but I guess I wasn't thinking about the process enough. Apparently, even if the House passes it, which they will, if all the Democrats support it and all the Republicans who signed the petition also signed. The Republicans who signed the petition, I don't think I probably know all of their names, but it's Thomas Massie, Lauren Boebert, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Those are the three I know. And you guys can tell me if there are any other ones. But the ones I know are Thomas Massie, Lauren Boebert, and Marjorie Taylor Greene. And then there's reporting today that they were called into some kind of meeting with Trump to try to convince them not to sign the thing. I mean, Trump is really, really, really pushing back hard on this. This is the original reason, I guess, most people abandoned Trump. Candace Owens says that's why she abandoned him. It's because he says it's a Democrat hoax. And he did say that. I can show you his Truth Social post. right here. So a bunch of people really turned on Trump initially when that story was a big story. When he said, when he was at that round table, it wasn't a round table, it was a long table. And he was like, "Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?" You guys remember that? "You're still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? Nobody wants to talk about Epstein. We just want to talk about winning." Like, I don't know if it was the big, beautiful bill or whatever at that time. So he said the same thing now. It's a hoax. So Donald J. Trump on Truth Social posted, "The Democrats are trying to bring up the Jeffrey Epstein hoax again." Is he retarded? I mean, really, is he politically retarded? What about it is a hoax? Except like the only people who think it's a hoax are like Trump. Everybody's sucking on Trump's butt, like Kash Patel and Pam Bondi. And Michael Tracy, who I think must like Michael Tracy has a problem. All Michael Tracy does is attack Epstein's victims on his Substack. I don't know if you follow that weirdo. But Michael Tracy, like every article he writes is like, "Oh, these lying bitches." It's like, dude, what are you about? Like, I don't know if he thinks it's okay to fuck little girls or something, Michael Tracy, but it sure seems like it. The way he writes, he's like, "Oh, these are all lying bitches. The whole thing's fake." And he did a review of Virginia Giuffre's book and so forth. Kevin, if you want to call in, I'll take calls. The phone's open right now, actually. But I don't know if I want to disturb the flow, but I will take calls. Sure. If you want to call in. But yeah, anyway, so Donald Trump's truth says the Democrats are trying to bring up the Jeffrey Epstein hoax again because they'll do anything at all to deflect on how badly they've done on the shutdown and so many other subjects. Only a very bad or stupid Republican would fall into that trap. Okay, see, so he's attacking the Republicans who are going to sign this thing, basically, I believe. Apparently, he called Lauren Boebert personally. That's what they're reporting. The Democrats cost our country $1.5 trillion with their recent antics of viciously closing our country, while at the same time putting many at risk, and they should pay a fair price. There should be no deflections to Epstein or anything else, and any Republicans involved should be focused only on opening up our country and fixing the massive damage caused by the Democrats. So that's like his message to the Republicans who are signing this petition that they shouldn't do it. That's the way I read it. It's like basically saying like any Republican who talks about this is going to be in Trump's crosshairs, pretty much. And yeah, maybe that's why the Democrats are doing it. I don't know. I mean, in any case, I don't know what the fallout's going to be from the closing of the government. Most people were blaming Trump and Republicans in polls. Most, but it was almost 50-50. It was like 50-40 or something, according to what I heard. It's like a 10-point difference or something between who was being blamed for it. The government shutdown, I thought, was pretty ridiculous. And the way it worked out in the end is pretty ridiculous. The whole press conference today from Carolyn Leavitt was going off on the Democrats still. I think the Democrats were mostly at fault for the shutdown. I mean, they're the ones who could have ended it at any time by just passing a continuing resolution and then moving on to the healthcare thing. which is what they ended up doing in the end. I think I think the people who voted on it were allowed to do that. I think the Democrats wanted to end the shutdown too, and now they're saying it was terrible that the Democrats ended it. And actually, they may be voting right now on the resolution to open up the government. I mean, that may be happening today, and Trump may be supposed to sign it today. Our channel says, "Where's Doshi?" I'll probably have to answer that question numerous times because I believe Doshi was still alive. Although I'm not 100% sure. Can't remember when he died. But I have to break the bad news to everybody who comes in here asking about Doshi. Many people are mentioning him. He is the spiritual producer for this show. But he is gone, unfortunately. And there is no replacement. And I'm not allowed to have a cat here where I live now, so. Do you guys think it would be cruel to have a cat that could only live in your bedroom? Would you have to get him an exercise wheel or something? And then you'd have the litter box in the bedroom with you, which would be a little smelly too, probably. But that's what I have going for me these days. And no, I'm not allowed to have a cat, I don't think. Or a dog, I don't think. Thanks, a flaming sword. Cats are pretty lazy, though. I mean, I've had indoor cats, but yeah, they'd be confined to a small space. So a lot of people say they have to go outside. I don't know if they have to go outside. They die a lot of times when they go outside. And then they become pretty wild, like they kill stuff and everything. Like Doshi wasn't much of a killer. He went after lizards a little bit. Like in that Geico commercial. He chased down some lizards, but I don't think he even ever killed them. Just kind of played with them a little bit. He was a nice cat. We did let him go outside, though, near the end. And he came back. I was always worried he wouldn't come back. Jimmy Berman, the Boston Terrier. Katie didn't take him the divorce. Sumi was always Katie's dog. Always. Sumi came with Katie. So Sumi was always Katie's. All right. So here's Levitt at the press conference talking about the Epstein thing. Let me play that.
Requests. So this administration has done more than any, and it just shows how this is truly a manufactured hoax by the Democrat Party. For now, they're talking about it all of a sudden because President Trump is in the Oval Office. But when Joe Biden was sitting in there, the Democrats never brought this up. This wasn't an issue that they cared about because they actually don't care about the victims in these cases. They care about trying to score political points against President Trump, as we have, of course, seen with this government shutdown requests. So this is.
Oh, I'm supposed to ban this account? Hoax Wars DRC. Okay, I can do that. Yeah, we don't want people being doxxed here. So let me, there might be a mod. If you're a mod, that is, that account is doing things that are not allowed. The Hoax Wars DRC or whatever. So feel free to censor them if you're a mod. We don't allow doxing here. Okay, so that's Carolyn Levitt saying it's a hoax. That's her name, right? Carolyn? Catherine? Carolyn? Oh, no, it says something went wrong. It's not showing my chat. Weird. Something went wrong where it's supposed to show my chat. Refresh. Still says something went wrong. Weird. Okay, well, I can't do anything about it. So somebody else do it. Is it cool, Gammarama? Oh, there. Mark Boggs I can see as a mod. So that's good. Okay, cool. Good. Thanks for taking care of that. Let me see what else she said. Okay, I can unbookmark that. This is going well so far. We're back in the flow of things. Do you want to hear Nick Fuentes, where he goes off on everybody who likes Trump? It's a 6-minute clip, but people like Nick Fuentes. On this show, we support Nick Fuentes, even though I listen to a lot of people. Well, I'll get into that. We'll get into Nick Fuentes in a little bit. Here is another thing. I think it's the same thing. She said it's just bullshit. They're like, we've been the most transparent possible about Epstein. They haven't said shit about Epstein. They haven't released anything about Epstein. They haven't been transparent at all about Epstein. They're just full of shit. I mean, he's covering something up for sure, 100%. Okay, we're going to get into H-1B visas, it looks like. I think that's everything about Epstein. You guys got the whole story? So anyway, if they pass it in the House, it also has to pass in the Senate, and they might not even vote on it, but it will put a lot of pressure on them. So either way, if it passes the House, it's going to put a lot of pressure on people because they're then either going to have to block it and not vote on it in the Senate because they don't have to bring it up for a vote in the Senate. And then if it passes the Senate, Trump would have to veto it. And I think he would, honestly, like knowing how Trump is. Like, I don't think he'd worry about the political consequences. It seems like he's 100% never going to release Epstein information if he has anything to say about it. He seems pretty committed to the cause. Gotta see if I have anything else on Epstein. I don't think I do. Okay, so let's take this down. Okay, so now I guess we'll end up talking about Jews in Israel after H-1B and student visas. I played this already. This is good. Hope you guys are having fun. Okay, here we go. Economy and H-1B. What do you want to talk about first? We'll talk about H-1B and Chinese students first. And then we'll talk about the economy a little bit. I'll give you those. I saved this, it looks like. When did I save this? I saved this May 17th. Hold on.
Man, these people took my kids from me, then they froze my bank account. I got so much anger in me, got no way to take it out. Think I'm stuck in the matrix. Where the fuck is my nitrous? Yes, I am a cook. I like when people fuck on my bitch with shit that I'm posting on Twitter. They telling me, yeah, don't say that. How niggas can see me in public. I'm driving an all chrome Maybach. With all of the money and fame, I still can't get my kids back. With all of the money and fame, I still don't get to see my children. Niggas see my Twitter, but they don't see how I be feeling. So I became a Nazi, yeah, bitch, I'm the villain. Nigga, how Hitler? Nigga, how Hitler? They don't understand the things I say on Twitter. Nigga, how Hitler? They don't understand the things I say on Twitter. All my niggas Nazis. Nigga, how Hitler? Nigga, how Hitler? Nigga, how Hitler? All my niggas Nazis. Nigga, how Hitler? She wanna fuck in Japan. I put the chrome on the bins. Nigga, how Hitler? She reaching down on my pants. She got the world in her hands.
All right, what are we supposed to say? It's terrible is what we're supposed to say, I think. That's a pretty good version of it because you can hear all the lyrics very clearly. That song, it's really too bad that that song wasn't allowed. The real version of that song wasn't allowed on Spotify or iTunes or anything like that. I don't even think it was like only a 2-minute version that was posted. It was just on Twitter. Okay, we'll get rid of that. Well, I'll save that bookmark. That's a good one to save. Cleaning up my bookmarks. Don't worry about it. All right, let's talk about Chinese students. People are really up in arms about this. Art of the personal story. That was hilarious. Where can I find it? I don't know. Can I leave a link? I tried to leave a link for it. Copy link. Here, I'll try to post it. See if it goes through. There you go. There's the link for it. It's old. That's from back May 17th. That's when I was clinically insane. All right. So this is the thing MAGA is really mad about. So a bunch of people are saying that Trump's done. Okay. Notably, I was listening to Dave Smith today talking about how Trump's jumped the shark. Been listening to Nick about it, but he's been saying it forever. Candace recently, like I said she no longer supports Trump, and she doesn't support Trump ever since the Epstein incident, where he was like, "You all still talking about Epstein?" etc. Then the latest thing that people have been blowing up about, I saw like 10,000 posts of the same video. It wasn't this one. I saw a bunch of posts of this video. So this is one of them about immigration. So things people don't realize about Trump is he's pro-immigration, or things that were buried or that most people didn't want to talk about is that he's pro-immigration. And like, for example, he went on the All In podcast and pretty much said that we should staple green cards to people's diplomas if they're foreign students. Like, that's the thing about having all these foreign students come in. He said on the All In podcast that we should staple green cards to every diploma for foreign students. So he's pro-immigration. That's one thing people are critical of him for, especially like Nick Fuentes, for example, who wants no immigration, no legal immigration. So this is it, but a bunch of people are mad about this. So I'll play the clip of it here.
Folks are not thrilled about this idea of hundreds of thousands of foreign students in the United States. We have about 350,000 Chinese. One point during COVID, you were going to, push to, get them out, but that was pulled back. You've said as many as 600,000 Chinese students could come to the United States. Why, sir, is that a pro-MAGA position when so many American kids want to go to school and there are places not for them, and these universities are getting rich off Chinese money?
Sure. Never said about China, but we do have a lot of people coming in from China. We always have China and other countries. We also have a massive system of colleges and universities. And if we were to cut that in half, which perhaps makes some people happy, you would have half the colleges in the United States go out of business.
So what?
Well, I think that's a big deal.
Are they fans
You would
of,
have the
fans of the United
historically,
States?
yeah, but you would have, as you know, historically, black colleges and universities would all be out of business. You would have a system of colleges and universities would
So
go
we're
down the
dependent on
tubes.
China to keep our
No, not
university
China,
system
but I
going?
think it's good to have. I actually think it's good to have outside countries. Look, I want to be able to get along with the
They're
world.
not the French. They're the Chinese. They spy on us. They steal our intellectual property.
What, do you think
They,
the French are better?
yeah.
I mean, really? I don't know. I'll tell you, I'm not so sure. We've had a lot of problems with the French, where we get taxed very unfairly on our technology. Where they put 25% taxes on American products. Look, assuming everyone treats us badly, because that's the way I am, but we take in trillions of dollars from students. The students pay more than double when they come in from most foreign countries. I want to see our school system thrive, but at the same time, I know you and I disagree.
Yeah.
We're never going to agree on
No.
it, but that's okay. And it's not that I want them, but I view it as a business. We have millions and millions of people. Also, I want to get along with countries if possible. People are shocked. Remember, Hillary Clinton said, we'll be in a war. I stopped 8 wars in the last 9 months. I don't want to be in wars. If I am in a war, we're going to win the thing fast, and it'll be violent. But you know what? I don't want to be in wars. But one thing, you don't want to cut half of the people, half of the students from all over the world that are coming into our country, destroy our entire university and college system. I don't want to do that.
I wouldn't lose any.
And don't forget, MAGA was my idea. MAGA was nobody else's idea. I know what MAGA wants better than anybody else. And MAGA wants to see our country thrive.
There you go. That's what he says. I know. Everybody knows. That's the fight that's going on right now. Everybody is MAGA. The Jewish supremacists are MAGA. They are the real MAGA, they say. The Trump is MAGA. A bunch of people. I mean, how many people said "Make America Great Again" in their campaigns? Didn't Bill Clinton even say that? Make America Great Again. So he got pushed back on that. She was like, who cares if the college is closed? So it's to prop up colleges, really? Like the colleges that are communists and stuff? Indoctrinating our smartest people in a communist ideology? Okay, that makes sense. And then he was like, black colleges. Somebody said that. I put it on the screen. What does black universities have to do with China? I know, right? I don't think Chinese students go to historically black colleges. I don't think that's one of the things they go to. I don't think a bunch of Chinese kids are trying to go to Howard, even though Howard's a good university. It's the best out of the black colleges, I'm sure. But he's like, the black colleges would go out of business if Chinese people didn't go there. I don't. It's weird. It is a weird thing to say. Thanks for the comment. T4T says taking away 600,000 prime college spots from Americans. Yeah, the college scam. So that's one thing people are very upset about, which makes sense. If the colleges close because they don't allow international students. I remember I had international students at my school. It's a scam. I mean, because the colleges make them pay twice as much. So of course they want to let in as many as possible. I don't even think they make them meet the same standards as America. I mean, that's the thing that really should be investigated. I think they probably let in international students who aren't qualified, that don't even have the same test scores as the Americans have to have. I wouldn't be surprised if you looked into Harvard and Yale admissions and stuff. And I went to Carnegie Mellon and I was in the dorm with some international students and they were kind of retards, I thought. Because I was in there with this guy from Turkey. Seemed kind of retarded. I don't think he was as smart as the Americans that were going there for what he was studying. He was studying computer science or something like that. So it is kind of a scam, really. We already artificially inflate. So the problem with we'll get into cost of living, but the problem with colleges and everything price-wise as far as like why we can't afford anything, houses and colleges, is because the government's backed the loans, because the government got involved. So like the problems we have, which they're trying to solve with socialism, were caused pretty much by a form of socialism, pretty much. Like every economic problem we have was pretty much caused by the government, whether you want to call it socialism or not. The reason everything's so expensive is because the government got involved. Houses and college, they guarantee the loans. The government backs the loans for houses and college. What are the most expensive things? Housing and colleges. And nobody's talking about fixing the problem. Republicans they have no solutions for the cost of living crisis. That's why people are going to Democrats, because they're openly socialists. The Republicans don't have a solution because they don't want to stop spending money either. Nobody does. Nobody wants to stop printing money. Nobody does. We're never going to fix the problems. They'll talk about it. They'll bullshit about it. And Trump will be like, oh, I got gas prices down. Okay. They're still $4.50 here in California. He's like, it's going to be $2. Well, not for me. It's not. I know that's a California problem, but stuff is expensive because of the government. So until somebody talks about the Fed and not printing money and balancing the budget, then nobody really is trying to do anything about bringing down the cost of living. As long as the government keeps spending more than it has and keeps backing college loans and stuff, the only way to get colleges cheaper is to make you have to go out to a bank to get the loan and then allow you to go bankrupt and discharge the loan, which Cernovich was talking about on Twitter today. It's the only kind of debt you can't discharge in bankruptcy because the government owns the damn loan. So the government started backing loans during, I don't know if it was Johnson, the Great Society or something. I don't know when they started doing it. But if the government backs the loan, then the bank will give the loan because they can't lose. Until you can make it so that the banks can lose, they're going to lend as much money as the government lets them lend. Government says you can pay $70,000 a year for college or whatever it is to go to elite universities, then banks will lend it. And it'll be backed by the government and they can't lose. So the only way to solve the problem is, and then international students, they'll just pay cash. I mean, they're beautiful. So, but colleges are all administrators now. Like it's all administrators and bullshit levels like middle management and stuff. And like, no, they need to make the cost of learning cheaper because of capitalism, because people can't afford to go there unless they get a government-backed loan, which they then can't afford to pay off. Because the whole economy is changing, probably mostly because of technology. The value of labor seems to be going down. Minimum wage may go up, but it doesn't compare. Like in the 1970s, like making $1 an hour or whatever it was back in the day was more than like $20 minimum wage is now, pretty much. Because you could buy an ounce of gold for like $35 before they got us off the gold standard. So you were making more than an ounce of gold every week. I saw somebody put it in, calculate it. You're making like 2.5 ounces of gold a week or something at minimum wage. Well, minimum wage was like $1 something. Because gold was like $35 an ounce. Now, if you made 2 ounces of gold a week, that would be $8,000 a week. And that's what it was, comparable to like real estate and everything else. So if you compare things to gold, then you'll see that the price of literally almost everything has gone down. And that's what's supposed to happen due to the advance of technology. And that's what AI is going to do. Will make the cost of everything cheaper. But the Fed's mandate is that we have to have inflation. So it gets worse every year. The cost of things gets exponentially cheaper in gold or Bitcoin, usually. But in dollars, it has to go up. That's their mandate. And until somebody does something about that, everything's always going to be more expensive forever in dollars. This is when I should run a gold commercial. So I'll run a commercial again. Go to Truth Revolution Clothing, truthclothing.io. It's our closeout sale. I'll show it again, just for people who are tuned in. Get stuff while you can. It is selling out quickly at these prices. So this is the lowest price we've had at everything. Everything on the site is at the lowest price it's ever been. Pretty much $10 or less. $10 or $5, pretty much. There might be a sweater for $15. Yeah, which was $50 when it was appropriately priced. And we only have it left in one size. Hoodies seem to have sold out. So my advice is to get on there quickly. Things might get cheaper before everything's gone. It might, but we'll have sold out of your size by then. People are buying these Freedom of Face shirts, which we made in opposition to masks, which are made in the United States of America, are super expensive to make. $5. So check out our sale, truthclothing.io. If you want to support the show and leave a note for me, I appreciate it. Go to buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil. You can do that during the show or after the show, unlike Super Chats. And I still accept Super Chats too, just in case you're wondering. Okay. Here is more people. Okay, so I'll go back to this. Oh, and I would do a gold commercial. So my experience was I used to talk about silver because it's cheaper than gold and owning physical silver. But due to my experience where I finally had to sell all of my silver to pay off the debt I accrued when I was insane, it turns out that owning physical silver and going to have to sell it and everything is not, the spread kills you, even on gold. Because Katie tried to sell some gold. She had gold, I had silver. She tried to sell gold and they still wanted to screw her over. Maybe because she's a woman or whatever. But who knows? But they want to screw you over when they buy it from you is the problem. And there's not much you can do about it because there are only so many places that will buy it from you. Cash. So it's good as a store of value in general if you hold it for a long time. But if you want, I would recommend, because I don't have a sponsor, I don't get anything out of it. But if you want to own gold, which I think is one of the safest things you can get, even though it might go down when the economy crashes, which I guess it's going to. People are all talking about it. You can get PAX-G, Paxos Gold. It goes by the ticker symbol PAX-G. You can buy it with Ethereum or USDC. You can buy it with Ethereum, though. You would get Ethereum, transfer it to a wallet that's decentralized, or you know what I mean? Like Phantom Wallet is maybe my new favorite wallet. I have Exodus Wallet too, but Phantom Wallet is really good. And then you can trade it for PAX-G, which is digital gold. Tracks the price of gold and it's audited by KPMG. It's apparently backed 1-to-1 with physical ounces of gold. that's stored in London vaults and so forth. But apparently it's audited and everything. Seems to track the price pretty well. So when you go to sell it, it's the full price. You get the full price instead of having some dealer try to hit you 200 back a spot or whatever it is that they try to hit you for. You just sell it for full price. So that's how I would recommend owning gold. And I have a little bit that way. And then you don't have to buy a full ounce. That's the other thing. I never talked about buying gold because now it's $4,000, $4,200 an ounce. So it's like you have to be rich to buy an ounce of gold pretty much. But you buy fractional ounces if you buy the crypto form. And then I think there's also spot gold on the stock exchange too, I believe. I believe you can buy stocks too. So that's probably even safer than whatever the crypto version is. But that's the way I would recommend owning it, because you can sell it for full price. That's why, instead of having to go to a dealer and get fucked. And gold is doing pretty well today. All right. Here's Trump saying the economy is great, even though everybody's telling him it's bad. So it's like, and this is Robert Barnes saying this degree of delusional gaslighting will sink the GOP in 2026. About this clip.
Somebody
then why are people saying they're anxious about the economy? Why are they saying that?
I don't know that they are saying. I think polls are fake. We have the greatest economy we've ever had. We will have over $20 trillion come into our economy, and it's largely because of my election, but it's also largely because of tariffs. Even somebody that's
then why are people saying they're anxious about
tariffs.
The economy? Why are they saying that?
I don't know that they are saying. I
mean, tariffs are doing absolutely nothing good for the cost of living in the United States. And the Supreme Court's apparently going to strike them down, which I think will be good. But he says it's gotten us lots of investment, which if that's true, then maybe that's good, but that doesn't help anybody with cost of living. The other thing he proposed is a 50-year mortgage, which people were really upset about on the right, especially libertarian types, because it doesn't save you money at all. I saw some 50-year mortgage. He suggested. Apparently, there's some people arguing about that within the Trump White House. But we had 30-year mortgages, which apparently started under Roosevelt. That's what Trump posted. He was like, Roosevelt made 30-year mortgages, which made houses more affordable. But again, they're back. That's the thing. Why are houses too expensive? Because there's government-backed loans for 30 years, which made it more affordable on a monthly basis. So it drives the prices up, and it's backed by the government. He's suggesting that the government back 50-year loans, which apparently don't even, which I guess, I thought it would probably bring payments down somewhat. Apparently it doesn't even bring payments down, because they would have to raise the interest rate, because typically you pay a higher rate at longer terms. So if the rate is 1% higher, this is what I saw somebody say on Twitter. I didn't check the math. If the rate is 1% different between 30 years and 50 years, then the 50-year mortgage, it'd actually be a higher monthly payment, which is unbelievable to me. And then forget about how much more interest you would pay over the term. It's like almost 100% more interest that you would pay over the term by extending it another 20 years. It's just turning people into debt slaves. You would never have equity unless the price goes up. I mean, that's all it is. It's just like, nobody wants the price of real estate to come down. That's the problem. Housing is unaffordable because the government backs loans for houses, and it's made them too expensive because people pay on a monthly basis. Nobody pays. I mean, some people pay cash, boomers and Chinese people. and people in Silicon Valley who are so wealthy that they can afford to. But typically, even they will take out $1 million mortgage. This is what I saw in people's mortgages when I was selling cars in the Bay Area, when I was selling Maseratis, who were so rich. They could afford to pay cash for their multi-million dollar homes, but they would take out $1 million loan anyway because you can write off the interest. With a 50-year mortgage, you would be paying almost 100% interest. Your monthly payments every month would almost be 100% interest. So I guess if you can write it off, then great. Save on your taxes. But you wouldn't be actually paying down the loan at all for the first 5 or 10 years, probably. So the only way you would gain equity in your house is if the price continues to rise. And I think it's bad politically if the price of housing goes down. But the price of housing needs to go down if things are going to be more affordable. Otherwise, people are all going to turn into communists, which is what they're doing, especially women. Because nobody understands economics. And the people who do understand lie to you about it, probably. Because they still want it. Everybody wants to print money, pretty much. We're kind of fucked, pretty much. Here's him talking about the 50-year mortgages, though.
Housing costs are still out of reach. And another thing that your administration is trying to tackle, many Americans, the average age of first-time home buyers are now up to age 40, which is sad. The country you and I grew up in.
I inherited that. Look, you have to understand.
Right, but let me get to the question, though, because your housing director has proposed something that has enraged your MAGA friends, which is this 50-year mortgage idea. So a significant MAGA backlash, calling it a giveaway to the banks and simply prolonging the time it would take for Americans to own a home outright. Is that really a good idea?
It's not even a big deal. I mean, you go from 40 to 50 years. And what it means is you pay something less from 30 that some people had a 40 and then now they have a 50. All it means is you pay less per month. You pay it over a longer period of time. It's not like a big factor. It might help a little bit. But the problem was that Biden did this. He increased the interest rates. And I have a lousy Fed person who's going to be gone in a few months.
It's not going to make a difference. It's not going to make a difference. The Fed has to control inflation. We have inflation because of the fucking tariffs, for one thing. And we have inflation because the government spends, what's the deficit? $2 trillion a year? We have inflation because we keep printing money and going more and more into debt. And because it's required, because inflation is part of the Fed's mandate. If we didn't have inflation, the Fed would make it so that we had inflation. Prices are going down in gold. And they have been going down in Bitcoin too. If you have Bitcoin instead of real estate, you're doing great. You can buy more houses than you could 5 years ago, certainly. But gold has doubled in a short period of time. Prices are actually going down, but we're required to have inflation by the Fed. And then we have tariffs, which is a tax, which he's so retarded. He's like, they're paying tariffs. They're not paying tariffs. We're paying tariffs. Hey, Art of the Personal Story says, I was trying to support Lift the Veil, but it looks like his channel is not monetized. Or am I going crazy? I might be crazy, but that's an interesting comment. Can you not super chat? Is there no $sign? On my other channel, you could. But that's why I have buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil. So you can just go there and then you're not giving money to YouTube. So it's better anyway for everybody involved. They take a very small percentage and they pay me almost right away. Where YouTube holds on to it for a long time until there's at least, I think they hold on to it till it's at least $100 or something like that. So if I'm not monetized, then you go to buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil. Sorry, it's a little harder, but it's better anyway. YouTube takes 30%. So I might not be monetized. Jimmy Berman says we might get that 2K. Yeah, he's promising a $2,000 check. But then his financial guy came out and said, we'll consider it a $2,000 check that you have no tax on tips or no tax on overtime. It was like, oh, we're not really going to send out checks. That's what Besant said about the $2,000 tariff check. So I don't think we're going to get that either, based on what his finance guy said. Besant, I think his name is. Thanks, Royal Blood. He says, happy belated. It's not belated yet. My birthday is actually coming up. Thank you for that. Love you too, Royal Blood. A Flaming Sword says my gold stocks are flying like crypto back in the day. Yeah. I wish I'd gotten gold. Well, because it's outperformed Bitcoin for the last year. I wish I had gotten more of that. Silver was, I mean, it did great too. But the problem is, I don't know. I mean, the problem is I got fucked when I sold it. It seemed like there was no way to avoid it. But silver's doing great too. I don't think there's a way to own spot silver virtually, like with a stock or with a cryptocurrency, the way you can gold. So, and if anybody needs help with cryptocurrency, I will still do consultations. If you want to do a consultation with me on cryptocurrency, I'll still do those. You can text me at the number for this show, 650-GAY-TAXI. You can always text me and ask me, and I will do consultations. I can tell you how to use a decentralized wallet that's not attached to your identity to buy virtual gold. Okay. So that's him talking about 50-year mortgages, which I don't think are going to be a thing. Okay, let me see what else I can tell you on the same topic. Trump also, all his focus on overseas stuff is making people upset. Here we go. H-1Bs. Okay, this is really pissing people off. H-1Bs. So here's Trump. This made people insane. This is what made people really insane. So we've gotten to that part of the show. This is what made people totally insane. I'll play it.
There's never going to be a country like what we have right now.
And does that
the
mean
Republicans have to talk about it, Laura.
And does that mean the H-1B visa thing will not be a big priority for your administration? Because if you want to raise wages for American workers, you can't flood the country with tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of foreign workers.
You also do have to bring in talent. When
we have plenty of talented people here.
No, you don't.
We don't have talented people here.
No, you don't have. You don't have certain talents, and people have to learn. You can't take people off an unemployment line and say, I'm going to put you into a factory where we're going to make missiles, or I'm going to put
How did we ever do it before?
Well,
I'll give
you an example. In Georgia, they raided because they wanted illegal immigrants out. They had people from South Korea that made batteries all their lives. You know, making batteries are very complicated. It's not an easy thing and very dangerous. A lot of explosions, a lot of problems. They had like 500 or 600 people, early stages, to make batteries and to teach people how to do it. Well, they wanted them to get out of the country. You're going to need that, Laura. I mean, I know you and I disagree on this. You can't just say a country's coming in, going to invest $10 billion to build a plant, and going to take people off an unemployment line who haven't worked in 5 years, and they're going to start making missiles. It doesn't work that way.
There you go. That's the thing. He says basically Americans aren't talented enough to do the jobs. Basically, that's what he's saying. Yeah, people are very upset about it. And actually the Hyundai plant or whatever. So he's saying all this investment we're going to get from these foreign countries, then we're going to take the foreigners from those foreign countries and they're going to be allowed to come in and I guess set up the factories. So what happened with these Hyundai people, which South Korea got really upset about, is they had a bunch of illegals, I guess, illegal South Koreans running a Hyundai plant that they invested in America, probably to get around tariffs. That's the thing about tariffs. I mean, I don't want to be too down on tariffs, I think they're preferable to income taxes. I think tariffs are preferable to income taxes. That's how the country used to run. And I can see the value in tariffs in balancing certain things out, especially industries that you need for national defense, for defensive reasons, like medication, for example. I can see the value in making in making it more expensive to get certain, like especially generic medications that are valuable and stuff from overseas. I believe that's like a national defense type issue because a country could use it against us offensively, like China. So I can see the value in tariffs for certain things, especially if it's replaces income taxes, which again is how the country used to run before there were income taxes, which were established in 1913 when they made the Federal Reserve. There were just tariffs, and that was the only taxes the government collected. I think it makes sense to balance certain things out. Steel, we need steel. Certain, industries that we need. I can see the value in tariffs for balancing things out so that we maintain production of things we need here in the United States. So I guess I am anti-tariff in a lot of ways, which is a more like libertarian point of view, I believe. But I understand it being used for certain industries like steel, for example, which we need to make weapons and stuff and other American things. So, and if and a country can use it against us offensively if they want to, and say, oh well, we just won't sell it to you, etc. A number of people asking about my interview with Nick Fuentes. As I posted that on the screen. I can't. If you can't find it, then it's probably been removed. I believe I did it on YouTube. I believe Nick Fuentes was on YouTube at the time. Good news. I found it. I have a 3-hour episode, which was probably only about an hour interviewing Fuentes, and he insisted on doing it over the phone. So it's not even like he didn't even do it on video, which kind of sucked, I guess. It was from November 27th, 2019. And I have the full video here. So I can edit out the part that's the interview with Fuentes, because I'm sure it's 2 hours of bullshit and 1 hour with Fuentes, probably, the way I remember it. And I can post it again on this channel and maybe get a bunch of views. I don't know. It didn't get a bunch of views at the time. It was the episode I used to launch our Made in the USA shirts. I thought it would be a huge interview. But at the time, Fuentes was getting, I think he was still on YouTube. He was getting maybe not, maybe was. He was getting like 30 to 50,000 views a video or something like that. I recognized how extremely talented he was. Just like I got a lot of people early, But if you can't find it, I see people saying that. I have it, it looks like. I just did a search for it in my files. It looks like I have the full video from 2019. So I will put it in my editing software here on my Mac and maybe post it, maybe after the show, assuming I have time. Okay. It might have been on DLive. It would have been on DLive also, but I believe I also did it on YouTube, but they probably deleted it, Nick Fuentes is still banned from YouTube, but he can go on people's shows now, it seems like. So, and I'm sure my video was pretty good. I might have asked him how gay he was. I believe mostly in the video, I was like, why do you support Trump? That's mostly what I asked him. I was like, why do you support Trump? Like you don't like Jews. Like Trump is Jewish. That's what I pretty much pushed back on because I didn't understand. I was like, your main thing seems to be that you're anti-Israel, anti-Jew, and Trump loves Jews, clearly. So why do you support him? And he gave me some bullshit answer, but it didn't make sense. So I'll play it. And then I believe that I thought he was gay at the time, which he really might be gay. I mean, he certainly hasn't ever been in a relationship with a female, and he had a really weird thing with Catboy Cammy, where he seemed to share like loving glances with him and stuff. I mean, it was very gay, the thing he did with Catboy Cammy, which I don't hold against him. The thing I hold against him is the hypocrisy of himself being anti-gay when he maybe is actually gay, which he doesn't really talk about it ever. If you notice, he hardly ever talks about LGBTQ stuff. Mostly talks about like interracial marriage rather than homosexual marriage. I haven't heard him mention it in a long time. There was a period of time where he was going hard on gays, but I haven't heard him mention it for a long time. I have no problem with him being gay if he is. I think it's kind of funny. And it's like kind of a Republican thing to do. I mean, the secret gay Republican is definitely like a thing. Anyway, I don't know if I asked him about it in the interview. It would have been pretty controversial. Oh, I asked him about getting blowjobs though. I did ask him about that. So yeah, I'll edit that video and post it. I'll post it tonight, I guess. If it's not too late. Yeah, it won't be too late. I can edit it very quickly probably and post it tonight. So I'll try to post that for everybody. All right. Do you want to see more? Okay, here's more about the H-1B immigrant thing. And then we might have, and then I'll open up the phone. I probably don't want to do more than, I don't care how long I go, to be honest. Here is that H-1Bs are necessary. Trump said H-1Bs are necessary to bring in certain talents.
What is the administration's position on these visas?
Now, we're going to keep using our visa programs. We're just going to make sure that they have integrity, that we're actually doing the vetting of the individuals who come into this country, that they want to be here for the right reasons, that they're not supporters of terrorists and organizations that hate America. And that's what I think is so remarkable is under the Trump administration, we've sped up our process and added integrity to the visa programs, to green cards, to all of that. But also more people are becoming naturalized under this administration than ever before. More people are becoming citizens because we're not just streamlining and building some processes back into our immigration policies. We're also making sure that these individuals that are coming into our country and get that privilege, that they actually are here for the right reasons. The Biden administration let thousands of terrorists into this country. They opened the southern border. They abused our asylum programs, abused our protective programs and visa programs, and we fixed all of it. It's remarkable what President Trump has done, and it's because he's a great leader. He's a visionary, and this man is going to go down as a legend in history as our greatest president ever.
Madam,
there you go. So we're naturalizing more citizens, which people on the right are also not happy about. And when she says terrorists, that's code for people who are anti-Israel. We throw out anti-Semites or anti-Israel people. That's what this administration does. That's what they focus on. Besides rounding up Mexicans, we deport and take away green cards and don't allow people to become citizens if they're like skeptical of Israel in any way, shape, or form. That's why we deport them. So I think that's what she means. Like terrorist is code for anti-Semite, probably. So Here's Scott Bessent talking about it.
There's 20, 30 years, we have offshore precision manufacturing jobs. And the president's point here is we can't snap our fingers and say, you're going to learn how to build ships overnight. We want to bring semiconductor industry back to the US. There are going to be big facilities in Arizona. So I think the president's vision here is to bring in overseas workers where these jobs went.
Who have skills.
Who have the skills, 3, 5, 7 years to train the U.S. workers, then they can go home. The U.S. workers fully take over.
So do you understand the concern that some people have? Hey, an American could have that job. Why you give it to a guy from
But an
India or
American
China?
can't have that job.
So
because,
it's specific skills.
Because we haven't built ships in the U.S. for years. We haven't built semiconductors. So this idea of overseas partners coming in, teaching American workers, then returning home, that's a home run.
Gotcha. Mr. Secretary, thanks so much.
There you go. So that's more of the stuff. Christendom Defender, you seem to be annoying. As far as I can tell, you're using all caps a lot and you're kind of annoying people. So I may give permission to one of my mods to hide you if you continue. I'm not even sure what you're talking about. All right. If anybody wants to call in, somebody mentioned that they might want to call in. Here's more on H-1Bs. Let me make sure I cover all the H-1Bs. I'll play another clip from Scott Bessent.
There's 20, 30 years, we have offshore precision manufacturing jobs. And the president's point here is we can't snap our fingers and say, you're going to learn how to build ships overnight. We want to bring semiconductor industry back to the US. There are going to be big facilities in Arizona. So I think the president's vision here is to bring in overseas workers where these jobs went.
Who have skills.
Who have the skills, 3, 5, 7 years to train the U.S. workers, then they can go home. The U.S. workers fully take over.
So do you understand the concern that some people have? Hey, an American could have that job. Why you give it to a guy from India or
But an American
China?
can't have that job.
So it's specific skills.
Because we haven't built ships in the U.S. for years.
There,
we haven't
same
built
thing.
semiconductors.
So he's saying that they're going to train us and then leave. So I don't know who's they he's talking about. Maybe Japanese people or Taiwanese people. Here's a clip of Trump back in the day talking about H-1B visas.
Well, first of all, I think, and I know the H-1B very well, and it's something that I frankly use, and I shouldn't be allowed to use. We shouldn't have it. Very, very bad for workers. And second of all, I think it's very important to say, well, I'm a businessman, and I have to do what I have to do, and it's sitting there waiting for you, but it's very bad. It's very bad for business in terms of, it's very bad for our workers, and it's unfair for our workers, and we should end it. Well, first of all, I think
that's what he used to say about H-1Bs. And then I have commentary from this guy who was on Rogan the other day, who is like the genius who kind of invented the form of virtual reality that is the most advanced. Now he works for the U.S. government making weapons. Palmer Luckey. This is what he says about H-1Bs.
Of course, there's so much H-1B abuse. You would not believe what I saw when I was in Silicon Valley. It is insane. It's obviously a program to try and replace U.S. workers with basically slave labor that can't ever escape. The H-1B abuse is crazy. Of course, there's so much H-1B abuse. You would not believe what I.
So that's what he has to say, and he's involved in it. So like he knows. Because yeah, it is kind of slave labor. It does drive down prices. Or the cost of labor here. So it drives down salaries. Okay, I have more stuff, particularly Jewish stuff. But maybe I'll save that. We have people tuning out, which is sad. I think it was a good show, to be honest. So we are posting this as a podcast. So you can find it on the podcast now. You search for Lift the Veil and you can listen to it that way. I have a lot of stuff about a lot of Jewish stuff. All right. I think that's what we'll cover for today. So there was one person who mentioned that they wanted to call in. So I will allow that if they want to call in, if they're still tuned into the show. I have to decide. I think the show went pretty well, to be honest. I think it's a good show, to be honest. But I have to figure out how to work the algorithm properly. Gina, I got my channel back. Oh, and I can talk to the chat too for a second. How did I get my channel back? They gave it to me unprovoked because I was banned for talking about COVID, like telling the truth about vaccines, like really truthful stories, which the government told them to censor. So they felt bad and they gave me my channel back. They also gave it back to people who talked about the election, people who talked about Q. Kevin tried to call, but it didn't get through. Really? It says your browser might prevent calls from ringing. Okay, let me see. Okay, well, I have it open now. I'm looking at it, so I'll see if anybody calls in. Thanks, Adam Filmgrain. Good to see you. I think you made an order from the shop. Thank you for that. Truthclothing.io closeout sale. And then after I get done with this, we'll download the podcast, post the podcast, and then I will see if I can post that Fuentes interview and see what happens from 2019. Yeah, thanks, Adam. You got 3 shirts. Yeah, most people are ordering multiple shirts at a time to take advantage of the sale. I have one order for like 12. That's serious. David Icke came back. Yeah. David Icke came back. Jordan Sather. That's what I was thinking of. Jordan Sather came back. I got a message. I got a comment from Jamie Deluxe. He got his channel back, but he says he's like uninspired or something. So I actually got the channel back a while ago, but I was feeling bad. I was just like extremely depressed and stuff. So I wasn't like, I couldn't figure out what to say actually for a long, long time. I'm starting to feel a little bit better. And to be honest, I think today's show was very good, in my opinion. For my sensibilities, at least. It's sad to see that we're not getting more viewers because then we don't get many callers, and callers are nice. So I'll have to figure out how to get more people tuned in. Don't know if it's going to happen. Titus Frost is back. Yeah, Titus Frost never left, I don't think. I was watching Titus videos earlier this year, so he was always on, I think. Gina says, remember, it could be gone again tomorrow. I don't think so. Doesn't seem like it based on what I'm seeing out there. The censorship seems to have relaxed. So that's another reason I feel more comfortable talking about stuff. I was so uncomfortable on YouTube before. It would just stress you out. And literally every show, you'd have to worry about everything you said. Even though you're doing it extemporaneously and stuff, I was like stressed out every time I did a show. Pray Medic is back, really? So they let the Q people back. They banned them for election denial, I think. So they can let back people because of election denial. They let people back because of COVID videos. And, but they didn't let Fuentes out. Fuentes created a channel and they banned him. Alex Jones created a channel and they banned him still. So they're still not allowing those guys back on. But it's interesting that I might not be monetized on this channel. That's possible. I am monetized on my other channel. I'll see if I got any coffees. Let me just read those just in case. And you can drop those anytime along with a nice comment, and I'll read it on the next show if you leave it after the show. Oh, yeah, cool. The Branch bought 3 coffees. Great. The Branch, friend of the show, says, sorry about the censorship. Umbrella needed the cover to experiment on the population. The trial is over, so we lifted the public ban on COVID. Thanks, The Branch. That is a reference to that video game. Resident Evil, I believe. Umbrella Corporation. I understand. Thank you. Thanks for that. 3 coffees. That's great. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. That's amazing. And then people are buying shirts. They bought shirts after the last show. Thank you, everybody who's doing that. Appreciate it. Eventually, we'll sell out of those. Then I'll have to figure out what to do. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Appreciate it. Appreciate every single one of you. Tomorrow is just Thursday. So theoretically, I'll be back tomorrow at the same time, 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern time. We'll see if we can figure out how to get people tuned in and stuff. We get phone calls. And in the meantime, take care of yourselves. And that's it for now. That is what it is.